Put on a suit. Drink water. Don't drink and drive.
Game over!
Take it light. Okay.
Now you're more fluent.
Dracula, he's got three!
Up, Bears.
So this is really good right here. Absolutely. Let's do it.
What's up, y'all? It is 6 degrees north. I'm Tony Styles.
Fluent looks a little different today.
Yeah, Fluent does look got less hair, less beard.
I was gonna say got the fresh shave going on with Fluent today.
Yeah, you gotta keep it clean.
Yeah, I hear you.
You gotta keep it clean. No, I'll tell you what, man. They said having a bald head is easy maintenance, but you got to shave this shit all the time. It's a lot of maintenance.
Yeah, sure. I think because you don't want to get like patchy. Some parts might grow in a little faster. So you got to shave it like once every couple of days.
Yeah, every other day or so. You know, maybe if I'm lazy, every 3 days. But yeah, every other day at least.
Yeah, that's a decent amount. At least a couple times a week. Damn.
You know, and then next thing you know, you bleeding a little bit, you little nick. You know, so it's not exactly the best thing. Then you got like all these people talking shit. They're like, "You're bald." Yeah, I know. I see. I don't mind it. I don't mind it. It's not that big a deal to me.
100%. As you get older, you're like, you know, I used to rock the buzz cut, but you know, then we just let the hair grow.
Yeah, I used to have a clean fade, and it's no longer the case. But then it got me old. You know, my birthday was last week. I just turned 40, so
I just turned 30. Both of them.
Right. So I'm officially into middle age. Well, you've aged.
Yeah, it'd be like that. How's that feel? Go from your
40,
30 to 40. Yeah.
The idea of it doesn't feel any different, really, but the idea of it, you know what I mean?
Yeah, in your head.
The idea of it.
You're like, damn.
But I like to think I look a little younger. I think I like to look like, you know, maybe 39 and a half.
No, I would definitely put, I would think you're closer to 35 than 40.
Oh, there we go. So we're holding up. You know, if I had some hair, you know, if I took off the glasses, you know, I'd probably look even a little bit younger.
Facts. This could be
and all that.
100%.
So what's up, man? What you want to talk about today? What's on the agenda?
Man, we got, you know, basketball news. We got Team USA doing their thing, basketball wise. Went up against Canada. I actually thought that was a pretty good game. Canada, I think, held their own. The talent of the US just showed, but I thought SGA, Dylan Brooks definitely did their thing. And you know, that game was one 8-0 run away, 6-0 run, just one kind of momentum shifting run away from really being a close game throughout. But I think, you know, again, Team USA is always going to be the most talented team on the floor. But Canada, I think, is probably the second best team without a doubt in this situation. What do you think?
Well, I didn't get a chance to watch it, but I did see the score. It was a pretty low scoring game, wasn't it? Like 86-72, something like that.
Yeah, but both teams are still, you know, trying to figure out how to play together. Both teams had some turnovers just because, you know, they've only had a couple, essentially like less than a week or about a week and a bit to kind of play together, you know, so still adjusting for that. But yeah, definitely a defensive game. Both teams, the defense was definitely good for both. Like both teams were playing defense. The Stars are playing defense, which is nice to see. But the offense will definitely come around the more they kind of play.
Yeah, I remember years ago when they were talking about getting Nash on Team Canada, you know, and I'm in the Phoenix area. I was all excited for Nash to be on Team Canada and see what he could do with it. After I watched what he did with the Suns, and it just never came to fruition. And would you say that's Canada's best player of all time, Nash?
Steve Nash? Yeah, at the moment, without a doubt. 2-time MVP, top. I mean, you make top 5 point guard all time. Definitely Canada's best player without a doubt. I mean, SGA is still young. He's got several years, but he'll be knocking on that door. That'll be a conversation at the end, obviously, because he might not get the 2 MVPs. I can see him getting 1, but it'll be an interesting conversation. Because Nash is one of those guys where you had to see him play. You had to see what he did for those Phoenix Suns teams. Like, you'll see the numbers 15 and 11, 16, and, you know, along those lines. But Steve Nash playmaking and his passes aren't the same as some of the other guys. Like you'll see a Halliburton getting 10, 11 assists. You'll see even a Chris Paul 10, 11 assists. The Steve Nash playmaking was different. It was very Magic Johnson-esque style, especially those Phoenix years, a couple years. Like he was behind the back. Like he was finding passes that I didn't see coming. You know what I mean? Like some assists you see coming. He had a ton of assists where I just didn't see it. And I was like, oh damn. And then you see again, oh wow.
Well, I'm not saying that he is. I'm just saying personally, I've never seen, and I've been watching basketball now religiously for 32 years and sporadically for about 36. I have never seen somebody throw better offhand cross-court bounce passes than Steve Nash. It was just amazing to watch. Yeah, so he's right-handed. He would throw
Yep.
left. You know what I mean? He'd be on one side of the court,
Yep.
threw the, you know what I mean, and just threw it. It was just amazing. Yeah, if you watched, I always try to explain this to people, especially whenever they talk about the '06 series with Kobe and Nash and all that. I go, you guys don't understand, like, Nash's team. I understand that you guys look at the talent, but it was Nash that really made that team go, because that team was awful. They were like 1-12 when Nash didn't play. You know what I mean? They weren't no good either. So it's like it was Nash, and it was more so than the numbers. Like when they say he didn't deserve the MVP, he took a 29-win team to 62 wins.
100%.
I don't know what's more valuable. That's what's pretty valuable.
Yep, 100%. And what he did for guys like Sean Marion, Amari Stoudemire, again, Raja Bell, Quentin Richardson, again, good players, but he maximized those guys. Like the best version of Amari is with Steve Nash. The best version of Marion with Steve Nash. The best version of Raja Bell with Steve Nash. And he also
best version of Boris Diaw, the best version of Leandro Barbosa. To be honest with you, the most effective version of Tim Thomas. Huh?
Hey, that's true. And he revitalized Grant Hill. People forget Grant Hill. Grant Hill's years in Phoenix, very underrated. He was so solid. And I think playing next to Steve Nash was a big part of that. So Steve Nash, again, he gets so underrated because one, just the look of him, a 6. How tall is Steve Nash? Like 6'2"?
But he's listed at 6'3", but I think he says he's 6'2" on a good day. So maybe he's like 6'1.5".
Because he legitimately has a case. You can make a case. He could be the best passer you've ever seen. You could legit make a case. But he's a 6'2" white guy from Canada. It's not sexy. It wasn't sexy for people for him to be that guy. But I'm telling you, watch Magic Johnson games. Watch Steve Nash games. It's a real conversation. And again, you have LeBron. Some people throw him in there, and the Luka Jokic, people want to throw him in there too. But I'm telling you, man, you watch Steve Nash and Magic Johnson, you took away the aura associated with Magic Johnson, right? That's special. Again, he was great, without a doubt. You can make a real case that Steve Nash was a better passer and playmaker than Magic Johnson.
Yeah, I've always said this. If I could have a player, a point guard, to run an offense, the problem is his defense. It's not that he didn't try on defense. He just didn't have the lateral movement to be a great defender, and that's why I understand people picking other point guards over him. But really, running an offense, I wouldn't have anybody over Steve Nash. He can hit every shot you want a point guard to hit. Makes every pass that you want him to hit. He was a very underrated screener too. You know what I mean? He's a great leader on. You know what I mean? And he's just very efficient and always gets the team the best shot. So I wouldn't pick anybody else over Nash to run an offense. Now, when we factor in defense, that's a different story.
The defense obviously is what held him back against some of the all-time greats. But again, Magic was never a defender by any means, right? So,
no, but here's the thing: people don't realize, and they don't count this on defense, and this is a big part of defense, is defensive rebounding, and that's what made Magic an elite defender. That's where you end the possession by securing the rebound.
He'll definitely you could say an elite rebounder without a doubt. I don't know if I'd call him an elite defender because of that. But that element of defense was elite on that.
What I'm saying is, wherever you have him defensively, when you factor in defensive rebounding, now he goes up.
Okay,
however high you want to. Why do we have Rodman? Why do we have Rodman in the Hall of Fame? Because of his elite defensive rebounding.
For sure. I mean, I think his man-to-man defense is still strong. Team defense is fine, but his elite rebounding is definitely the one that stuck out on what he named his name off of for sure.
And all that. So
I can get with that.
Are we going to compare dream teams? Is that what I heard we're doing today? We're comparing dream teams.
We did do a little bit of that last time too, but we could do that. I mean, the dream team of so last time talked about Fluent too, where the '92 team, right? Obviously, everyone's favorite dream team. I do think it's the most I don't know whether it's overrated or overhyped team that gets a lot of I mean. They deserve a lot of attention for sure for what they did, what they meant for basketball. But if you look at the players on the team, Larry Bird was cooked. Like this is not Larry Bird at his prime. Like this is Larry Bird with a terrible back, could barely walk. He's a borderline mid-tier NBA player at that point. Like he wasn't Larry Bird. Magic Johnson. This is not peak Magic Johnson. This is Magic Johnson coming off how many years away from basketball? When he came back 1 year away from basketball.
But he also in '92 he also played in the All-Star game and won the All-Star game MVP.
That's true. But this is not peak Magic Johnson. The way people thought this is not the best of Magic Johnson. This is not 87 Magic Johnson, 86, 88. So it's not the best of him. So there's that. And you have Christian Laettner out there who, look, I'm a Duke guy, so I got love for Christian Laettner. But that's
can't stand Duke.
Well, he can't stand it.
Can't stand Duke. Cannot stand Duke. Never liked Duke.
Oh man, hey, Duke's great. I don't know why people hate on Duke because they were so good during the Coach K era, but I mean, that's a conversation we can get to after. So
I mean, if you want me to get really technical, do you know what you get? You know, because I'm a big math guy. There's a math formula. Do you know what you got if you got 50 Duke fans in a room with 50 lesbians?
oh man, here comes something crazy is about to come out your mouth. But talk to me.
You got 100 people who don't do dick.
I mean, look, I'm pretty sure JJ Redick was doing this thing in college. I'm pretty sure.
Dude, they love getting the best white player in the country.
Yeah, okay, there was a time.
They love that.
Yeah, there was an era in Duke when, you know, the stigma was they get all the good white players, like only white players go to Duke, and then they didn't have, and then a lot of them didn't translate well to the NBA or didn't become the stars, and I think that obviously that changed in like when Coach K embraced the one and done more so. He got more people of color for sure. That kind of changed, but there's definitely a time from like you could say from basically the 90s to about 2010.
But I want to say this about your 92 Dream Team because Larry Bird in his last season, which was 92, I mean, he was still 20, 10, and 7. So, I mean, that's not prime Larry Bird. That's still very good. That's 20, 10, and 7 is an all NBA level player.
20, I guess at that point. I mean, but I consider, did he make all NBA?
No, he didn't because he only played 45 games that year. Okay. But he made an all-star team. But I'm saying 20, 10, and 7 will get you on an all NBA team.
It'd be close. Yeah, no, I'm not mad at that. I'm not mad at that. But
so that's what I'm saying. On the 92, because I always go with the 92 Dream Team is the best because I just look at it like this. They got 3 no other team has it. They got 3 players who are arguably in the top 10 in Bird, Magic, and Jordan. And then they have 3 other players that were MVPs. I think they're the only team that's got that many MVPs on the team, 6 of them.
Wow.
Then like they talk about the Redeem team, they had guys like Carlos Boozer and Tayshaun Prince, and you know what I mean. Those guys just are
guys, role player guys. This is the thing though, just because you have a team of stars, you still need role players to play a role. You know, do the thing. So it's like you're not getting the best out of what Patrick Ewing can do on that team. You see what I'm saying? That they have all these other guys. So I understand obviously the Tayshaun Prince, Carlos Boozer, you know, aren't as good as those players without a doubt. But what a Tayshaun Prince can add to that team, coming in, not need to shoot the ball ever, play off the ball, put him on the other team's best player, have him defend, do all that. I think can be very, very valuable, maybe even more valuable than having David Robinson, Patrick Ewing, Charles Barkley, Karl Malone is great, but then when you allocate the minutes, the shots, it's like, again, you're not getting the best out of those guys. And I might even say 2012, because I like how Tyson Chandler was in 2012. I like how Tyson Chandler kind of fits in that team with the guys. And you could say 08 and 012 have 2 top 5 players all time, LeBron and Kobe.
Kobe's not top 5. Kobe is not top 5.
He's not. I got Kobe 6, so he's not in my top 5. But you can make a case for him being.
I got Kobe. You can't though. That's what I'm trying to say. I got Kobe 11.
Oh, you're like chill toe. You're like chill toe.
Oh my God, I got Kobe 11. Oh, dude, I don't know if you know this, but I'm gonna tell you this much: Kobe top 5 is a behavior that needs to be studied. Okay, and like let me tell you the problem with Kobe. Okay, here's why Kobe is not top like this. Okay. What do you think Kobe shot in the 2008 Olympics from the field?
He probably shot like 42%.
46%. Now, my question is for this. Now, everybody always says this to me. Now, I'm like, well, why is Kobe shooting 46% in the Olympics? He's not going against all NBA talent. You know what I mean? He's not getting doubled. They can't double and triple team him on the Olympic team. Why is he only shooting Oh, no, I got a better one for you. Did you know he shot 61% from 2 and still only shot 46%?
So, I mean, he was shooting like what, 10% from 3?
32% from 3. 32% from 3. So he can never be efficient from 3 overall for his career, and he just can't stay away from bad shots. That's why Kobe can't be top 10.
Yeah. So
if Kobe took his 6 bad shots a game and turned those into either passing the ball or better shots, he probably would be higher. But that's not who Kobe is.
Yeah. So the deficiencies of Kobe of his game, obviously the shot selection. I think that's probably the thing that holds him back a lot. The efficiency thing is, you know, relative to era. Like the 2000s were, if you look at all the scorers averaging 25 plus, if you do it like relative to the era, he's still a plus efficiency, right? In that era. But I understand what you're saying. If you compare it to this era, it's different. But I don't think Kobe's as inefficient as people think. He's inefficient, but not as inefficient as people think, because that era was, the standard was kind of quote unquote, we call now inefficient. But for that time, it was different. It's just like Tim Duncan's field goal percentage at the rim between like 5 feet. If he's, I got big numbers. But let's say if he.
But here's the thing, like guys like this, because the only other shooting guard in that era that was on his level was Wade, And Wade hit over
Wade-
50%.
I
And
like
Wade hit over 50%. Huh?
Yeah. T-Mac for a couple years, you could say. I mean,
No, T-Mac too, but I'm just saying,
Yeah.
like Wade hit over 50% of his shots, and
No,
he's
he did,
smaller
but-
than Kobe. So why can he do it, but Kobe can't?
No, I'm with you there. I think Kobe again took tougher shots. I think Kobe took definitely more threes too, for sure. I think guys. What's the true shooting?
I don't know. I know Kobe's best true shooting ever. I hate true shooting, by the way. I hate true shooting, by the way, because it tries to it incorporates field goal percentage, and like guys like Chauncey Billups have a much higher field goal percentage than a true shooting percentage than Kobe, because he shot in the 90s and things like that. And I don't think, especially when I don't think Billups was a better shooter than Kobe.
Yeah, of course.
Right.
Yeah.
So, and that's where it does. But effective field goal percentage is the number I like. But Kobe's best ever true shooting percentage, I think, was 58, and it was in 07, and it tied him for like the 58th place in the league with Matt Carroll. So his best ever true shooting percentage year got him like 58th place.
So he had a couple true shooting seasons that was plus officially compared to league average, though, right?
Yeah, but that's what I'm trying to say. So you're telling me a dude's top 5 and he's like above league average. He's around league average. I've never understood that case. How is some dude that's this great in scoring's the thing, and he's around league average? That's your argument.
I will say that people who have Kobe, like people who have him like 2, 3, like really up there, again, top 5, there definitely is an emotional connection to him. And I think that plays the emotional attachment definitely plays a role in that. 11 is trying. You got to pop up on the panel or some one episode, man. The people want to know. Whenever Kobe gets put in 11, 12, outside of top 10, it gets crazy in the chat. That's when Chill does it. Wait, so who are the 10 you have in front of him?
So one, I would pop up on the panel, but they were supposed to give me a show on that, and then they didn't. So for whatever reason, I don't know what happened. I remember I asked, I forget the girl running it at the time, or she's still running it. I forget her name.
Claire.
Huh?
Claire.
Yeah, Claire. I think that's her name. Yeah. I asked her, I said, what made you guys go in a different route? She goes, I don't think that's important at this time. Well, it's important to me. But so the 10 people I have over Kobe is I have in the top 5 really could be any order. Like I think the top 5 all have a cake for the GOAT. But Wilt, Kareem, LeBron, Bill Russell, Michael Jordan, and who else said anyway? Saying Wilt, Kareem, Bill, Russell, and Mike. Okay, so all 5, those 5. Oh, and LeBron too is in that. Yeah, in top 5. And then 6th is Duncan, 7th is Magic, 8th is Shaq, 9th is Bird, 10th is Hakeem.
Oh, so I think I essentially have the same top 10. I do go back and forth with how to properly rank Bill Russell and Wilt. Like I said, I think Wilt has a case to be the GOAT. Like if you just value the statistical dominance, like if someone tells me they value dominance, statistics and all that, even relative there, like Wilt your GOAT, I get it. As long as you're consistent with it, I'm fine with that. The Bill Russell thing, if you value championships on a team sport, I disagree with it. If that's what you value, cool. You can have him as your GOAT. As long as you're consistent, I'm with that. But also, it's so tough ranking them appropriately. Like I just don't know what to do with them, so I get that. I have Duncan and Kobe. I would alternate 5 and 6.
Hell no.
Those are guys I always go back and forth with because they played in the same era. Again, both guys elite defensively for both. Kobe, I think, was a little better offensively, but Duncan
Kobe's not elite defensively though.
So Kobe was Kobe. Look, I think Kobe has the most undeserving All NBA first team selections. He has the most.
2011, absolutely. 2011 is one of the worst awards I've ever seen where he made all defense first team.
Yeah, I don't think Kobe didn't play all defense first team level past 2005. Might be his last season. 03.
See, I would go, and I'll even give more love. I would say you can make an argument up until 07, somewhere around there.
Oh, I definitely don't give him 06. Kobe was not playing defense 06. He was definitely not playing 06.
To me, 03 Kobe is the best defensive Kobe.
To me, that's the best version of Kobe. Just because
I like that Kobe too.
Yeah, and offensively, he was great too. I think he was at his peak athletically. And
he put on a bunch of muscle that offseason. He came back swole looking. He put on 15 pounds of muscle, and he just looked way different, just killing it.
He was 100%.
And then what's crazy is McGrady had a better season than him that year.
Now McGrady, I'm high on McGrady.
But do you get what I'm saying? That's why Kobe's not top 10. Kobe's best season, he got outshowed by McGrady.
No, but McGrady wasn't playing defense like that though.
No, but once again, McGrady was. But McGrady's defensive rebounding, his PER, just everything. You know what I mean? Just the stats are better. McGrady had over a 30 PER that year.
Yeah, no, he had the advanced stats.
What he averaged 32, 6 and 6, something like that. You know what I mean? Like
led the team in scoring, right? That was with the bad Orlando team.
Oh.
Okay, yeah. So there's there. Shaq I have at 3. That's where probably the biggest disparity. Shaq at 3.
Say that again. I'm sorry, I had a weather alert.
I probably have Shaq higher than anyone. I hold to a higher regard. I am at 3. I have LeBron, Jordan, Shaq. I have Shaq at 3. Just again, I think his peak, what he did in the NBA Finals, those runs, phenomenal. So that peak value, I definitely value. And I think Shaq's longevity is underrated. But people act like he doesn't have 10 All NBA first teams are close to that number. I believe it was 10.
Well, I'll put it this way: he had from 92 to 05, he had 13 great seasons, and 98 to 05, I think he's probably the best player in the league for 7 years.
I'm with that 100%.
I'm with that
for Duncan.
But it just goes with what he accomplished, because see what I hold and there's certain twists or whatever, because I guess overall I do think if I'm really nitpicking, I had to gun to my head Jordan, and I think it's probably number 1. LeBron's probably 2, Bill Russell's number 3, but me, I really value, I try to explain this to people, is the number one thing I think anybody would do if you could choose just one thing to do in the NBA is be the best player on a title team. I think that'd be the number one thing you'd want to do. And so to me, that's really what I value. How many times are you the best player on the title team? So when I look at guys like Kobe, for example, well, you're only the best player on 2 title teams.
Yeah.
So that's hard to be in the top 5 best player on 2 title teams. Now, Wilt is in my top 5. He's the best player on 2 title teams, but he has 118 NBA records to go along with that. Kobe doesn't have that. Now, if Kobe had 118 records to go along with that, I'd throw him in my top 5, but he don't. And then I'm really big on it bothers the hell out of me. If somebody wants to have Kobe in the 8 to 12 range, I think that's a really good range for him. But it will bother the hell out of me if they have him over Hakeem. That is just the one dude that's in that 10 area that's around Kobe to me. But he is not better than Hakeem at all, ever. And it drives me insane when people rank him over him.
I have Hakeem at 7 ahead of Bird and Magic. I have him right below Kobe and Duncan. But look, I think Hakeem is kind of disrespected. People don't understand how good he was, and that's the whole championship flaw thing too. Because Hakeem wasn't given a team that he could really take to a championship level.
Nobody did more with less than Hakeem.
100%. Now look, there's another guy that I bring up though. I've been talking to some who I consider intelligent minds. Kevin Garnett did a lot with trash. Kevin Garnett, you watch him play, did a lot with some teams. We know the Minnesota situation. They got their draft picks taken away. And I mean, what they were surrounding him, other than that season with Latrell Sprewell, Sam Cassell, you look at his roster, what he was working with, going up against Chris Webber.
Well, if Cassell didn't get hurt, they might have won the title that year.
And it's a whole different story, 100%. Kevin Garnett, people look different, but what he was able to do, he was literally playing point guard when he got hurt. We're talking about doing that in an era when bigs like that weren't supposed to do that. Coming up, grabbing a rebound, running the floor as a point, making plays or finishing. People weren't doing that as much then as they do now.
What's funny? Era, I had a 2-hour phone conversation with Rudy Tomjanovich back in May.
Yep.
And I was telling him, I go, Sam Cassell is the best post-up point guard of all time. I said, I will go to my grave believing that until right now. And he goes, yeah, I'd agree with you. I'd agree with you. People don't understand how good Sam Cassell was, especially when he got in his peak and all that. But, yeah, I think Sam Cassell's underrated. And I want to say this, too, because I was going to say this. 95 Hakeem, and I've been watching basketball religiously since the 92 finals. 95 Hakeem is the best player I've ever seen, without a doubt. And I saw Jordan average 41 in the finals. And I saw Shaq average 38 and 17 in the finals. And 95 Hakeem is the best player I've ever seen.
I go with 2018 LeBron, what he was able to do in that playoff run. It's just the most amazing thing I've seen. I'm not mad at 95 Hakeem. We had that. That was his peak season. Peak season, again, you mentioned the Shaq peak season, Jordan averaging 40. That Jordan 40, I think he was better in some other series. It's that Phoenix team was just scoring 40 that Phoenix team isn't necessarily as impressive as some of the things he's done. But I get it. I get why that Jordan's.
It's not just the 41. It was the 41 points, the 9 rebounds, the 6 assists, the 3 steals, the block, the 53% while getting 41. It was just crazy.
He was doing it all. I'm not mad at you. I always say LeBron was the greatest player I've ever seen. What LeBron did to the Raptors, I don't think. LeBron was making jump shots like he's Steph Curry. You gotta remember, he was rained, it was crazy. He was in that zone against the Raptors. I'm a Raptor fan, so it was always interesting thing watching that. But that situation, no, I can get with you there. Hakeem in general just might be one of the most disrespected superstars.
Yeah, like I said, if Hakeem would have won more time, I would love to have Hakeem higher. I just can't. You know what I mean? He's always the best player on 2. And it's not. And like I said, it's not best. It's just what your career accomplished. And if I was looking at I would rather have Shaq's career than Hakeem's. I just would. You know, I would rather have Bird's career than Akeem, Magic's career than Akeem, Jordan. You know what I mean? And that's really what it is. I think, you know, obviously if he had more talent, more help. Speaking of a trial, what that one year what was it? Andrew Wiggins' dad was on coke, and his starting shooting guard and his backup shooting guard got suspended for drugs.
Oh damn!
So he lost his shooting guards one year.
Yeah,
and all that.
Yeah, that's
no,
tough.
it is. It's crazy. But
yeah, it's one of those things. Like if Kevin Garnett played for, it's just all the teams he had to go for, like Dirk Nowitzki and the Mavs. You know what I mean? Tim Duncan and the Spurs. Like he just didn't have anyone to really, and he would still hold his own. They were still competing, doing his thing. So I just think that's super impressive. Another thing too with Magic and Larry Bird. The more and more I have discussion, people want to bring up, you know, Luka's trajectory, Jokic's trajectory, Giannis, where they might end up. The two-way argument. Every player, I've heard one where he didn't have those guys top 10, but every player in his top 10, they basically had a seasons. I think every player essentially had like 2 to 3 all NBA like defensive teams or some sort of where a period in time where they were elite offensively and defensively. I kind of thought to myself, when we're talking about like top 10 players, some of the time in that like, you know, 7 to 10 spot, it is big margins, right? Like there's all great. Like we got to find a separator of some sort, right? Right. Choosing something, and that defense thing makes a lot of sense. And I keep going back for some of these guys where like Magic, Larry, even guys like again Luka, Jokic. Again, we understand how great they are, the impact they have, the championships and all that. But when there's such, in some ways, a weakness on one side of the floor that other players are elite at both, do you think there's a case that you take out, if someone's criteria, let's just say you have to have, let's say, at least a 3 to 5 year stretch where you're elite on both sides of the floor? That's just your criteria. Do you think it's an okay criteria then to leave out Magic, Bird from that top 10 list?
No, because you can do something so well on one side where it doesn't matter if you're weaker on the other, you know, because at the end of the day, it's just about winning the game. That's what I'm like. Here, I'll put it this way. I'll give you an example. Dan Marley is a way better two-way player than Carmelo Anthony.
No. Okay,
I would not rather have Dan Marley than Carmelo Anthony. And Dan Marley at his peak would get you 17 a game, which, you know what I'm saying, it's not bad, but he gets you with way better defense as well.
Yep. But
so
in the top 10 list, does anyone have like such a, let's say Magic, great offensively, like how much better is his offense compared to everyone else in the top 10 list? Let's say even Akeem, like let's say you think he's better. It's not, is it that much better where he can make up the gap? You see what I'm saying?
I don't think it's so much like he's better off, because I'll argue this, okay? To me, Magic had a flaw. Magic was not a good shooter, okay? No. On offense, Larry Bird had no flaws. Yeah, he was a great passer. Absolutely. He was a great rebounder. He was a great screen setter. He played off the ball. He played on the ball. He could post up. He could play mid-range. He could drive. He could shoot. You know what I mean? Larry Bird is by far a better complete offensive player. But I think it's more so the intangibles with Magic, the mismatches, the taller, the seeing over the defense, the being guarded by 6'1", the rebounding, you know, just things like that. It was the mismatches that he created, I think, is what made him better. And then also, too, it could have just been him with the Lakers, because at the end of the day, Magic got teamed up with a top 5 player in Kareem, and Larry Bird didn't.
He got blessed. Very fortunate, without a doubt. Larry, I guess Kevin McHale, not top 5.
I had Bob McAdoo on my show. We were talking about that.
Gotcha. No, that's very real. That's very real. I think Larry Bird was a better player than Magic.
I do too.
Yeah, I think he's a better player than Magic too.
I do too. And see, that's what I try telling people. Like when we're talking about this, because like on my list, like if you go on my TikTok or whatever, like I do these lives, you know, where I rank players and I put their championships up by how many times they were the best player on title team. So like, for example, under Bill Russ, I have 8, right? I think he personally was the best on 10 because at 69, Havlicek was clearly the best player. And there's not even an argument for it. And the first 2, there's an argument high. Huh?
Are those games online? Because like I'll see like clips of a game or some game of it on YouTube, like full games.
Yes, I don't know if they're online. I used to watch them on ESPN Classic.
Gotcha.
Like the Don Nelson shot where he banked it, where he hit the back and went way up and way down. So I used to watch him on ESPN Classic back in like the 90s or whatever. Or NBA Classic, I forget which ones it was. But Havlicek was the better player. The first 2, there's an argument for Heinsohn, but he's still so far above it. I just say 8 because it's not even worth arguing. Like even if he's at 8, 10, whatever, he's still ahead of everybody else. And then, you know, like I got Kobe at 2, and they're like, Kobe's got 5. And I'm like, yo, bro. I said, when we're talking GOAT shit, it's not about how many times you got a title as the second best player.
Finals MVPs matter. Argument. Finals MVPs are big accolade to count in greatness, in top 10 lists.
No. Well, it depends, because like I have Isaiah Thomas as the best player on 2 title teams. Joe Dumars was not better than Isaiah Thomas in 1989. He was better for a few games or whatever, but he was not better than him. So that's also I do. In 2015, Iguodala was not better than Curry.
No.
Parker was not better than Duncan in 07. I think Duncan personally was the best player on all 5 teams. All 5
no,
teams.
I don't think he was better than Kawhi.
So
Parker.
So let's just do this. I'm just going to ask you this. What would you rather have? 17 points and 6 rebounds or 15 and 10 in less minutes?
That Kawhi defense was special, though.
That Tim Duncan defense was special.
It was, but not at the like Kawhi. To me, Kawhi's defense was more impactful.
I'm going to do a deep dive on this. I'm going to break it down because I'm telling you, I think Duncan was the best player. Like I said, Kawhi got the shine, but Duncan was just clearly the best player.
The Parker one I can get on you with. That one I think.
Tim Duncan out-assisted Parker in that series.
Yeah, he was to me he was the best player in that series without a doubt. Why I want to go back and see the narrative of why Parker won that, because I get like the narrative because I understand why Kawhi won it. I never understood why Parker won it. I want to kind of look back and see what the narrative was for Parker to win it, because again, statistics, you watch it too.
Yeah, I'm telling you what, I didn't really watch the 07 finals. I was so hurt because, like I said, I'm a Suns fan. And if you watch that 07 series, it was so hard because it's like game 1, truly believe we would have won if it wasn't for the Nash bloody nose. Like Nash would come in, make a 3, get us up by some, tie it, go out. We couldn't hold it. You know what I mean? Game 2, we blow them out. Game 3, the ref goes to prison for betting against the Suns and making bullshit calls to affect the outcome. Game 4, they win. Game 5 is bullshit, is suspensions. In Game 6, the Spurs just legitimately won.
That's the one where Amari and
Boris,
yeah, that's that.
And then we lost that game 88-85 in Game 5 by 3, missing our second best player and our 5th best player.
And then who got hurt the next year? Was it Amari got hurt next year? Or someone got
in
hurt?
08? No, nobody got. Let's see. 08. Grant Hill didn't play in the playoffs in 08. So you look at that Suns right. 06, they were missing 3/5 of their starting lineup.
06,
05, Joe Johnson breaks his face. 08, Grant Hill's out with an injury. So and really, like when people's like, "Well, it didn't work," I was like, "I don't know if it didn't work. We never got to see the full scope of them in the playoffs."
From 05 to 08, I think they could have realistically won 2 rings. They could have won 2, and that just changes so much of the NBA and how we look at a lot of these players. Like a Duncan would have 1 less. You give Nash a ring, a Finals MVP, a ring, maybe 2. He's seen as he might universally be seen as the second greatest point guard of all time.
I don't know if he'd be that high, but I think he's vaulted into the top 20 with that argument with just 1 title and a Finals MVP. Because now he's got 2 MVPs, a Finals MVP, and a championship. Best player on here. I'm gonna put it this way: there's only been 21 players ever that have been the best player on a title team and an MVP. So Nash would have been one of only 22 players ever that did that. So, and then he's got a second MVP as well. So, I think maybe you got to start vaulting him up at that. But it's also like if you look at like another run like that, they actually got a title that was the those Celtics team. 08, they win the championship. 09, Garnett's hurt. They're probably the best team in the league. Yep. They probably win the title then. There was something like they started off something like 31-5 or something crazy number like that.
Yeah, and Garnett was never the same after injury. He was never the same after any injury.
Right. And then 2010, I would love to do a recap because I've been telling people this for the longest. In 2010, if you watch the first 3 quarters of Game 7, they ref it completely different. They just allow whatever. You know what I mean? It's just like prison style ball. It's Game 7. We're just gonna let them play. And then in the 4th quarter, everything the Celtics did was a foul, and nothing the Lakers did was a foul. And it was a 21-6 free throw disparity to get the Lakers to win that title. So I think they could have won 3 straight. Oh no, it gets better. 2011, I think, was their best team. I think Garnett, Allen, and Pearson slipped a little, but Rajon Rondo, from where he was from 11 to 8, was much better. And then Shaq was way better because he could actually score on his own. And then in the game Shaq, all 5 of them played, they were something like 21-3 or some crazy ass number like that. They were unstoppable when all 5 of them played. So I think they could have won like 4 straight. And I think that 2011, when healthy at their peak, was the best team of the Celtics. And we could just do that over and over.
Yeah, no, I completely. I think Kevin Garnett stays healthy. They win back to back. Well, without doubt, I think they're the best team for sure. I think Kevin Garnett should have been the Finals MVP over Paul Pierce in 08.
No, I agree with that. I have Garnett as the best player on a title team. Even though he didn't get Finals MVP, I still think he was the best player on that 08 team by far. What you factor in with his rebounding, his defense, you know what I mean? He's more efficient. He's just a better player. I'll put it this way: when they had Pierce and Allen, they thought maybe the team could make the playoffs second round, and then when they got Garnett, that's when they became a title contender.
100%. Yeah, he was definitely that guy. And like you said, Rondo coming to his own later on, they definitely could have strung maybe a couple of championships together if Rondo took that step forward. If Ray Allen didn't, again, if they understood, that they should take a step back, let Rondo do his thing. would have been interesting without a doubt. That would have been
You
fun.
know, really is a big what if. Like, I really wish I would have seen this, and I would have loved to see this. The Suns drafted Rajon Rondo and then traded him to the Celtics to save money, because Robert Sarver's a cheap ass and a terrible owner, and we all can't stand him here in the Phoenix area. But I would have just loved to see how Rajon Rondo would have developed under Steve Nash, playing with Steve Nash, and then running a backcourt at some points with Nash and Rondo. Two guys that could pass, only one can shoot. And just kind of see how that would have worked. That would have been a great what if too. I would have loved to see. Maybe he's better. Maybe he's worse. I don't know.
You guys let Joe Johnson go for like pennies on a dollar, no?
No. Here's what happened with Joe Johnson. Let me tell you something, okay? I'm gonna say this. Joe Johnson is by far the ultimate loser. Okay. Joe Johnson is the ultimate loser. Okay, so here's what happens. Joe Johnson, the year that he played with Phoenix in 05, he averaged 18 a game on 48% from three. Okay?
48% from three?
48%, 47.8 is what he shot from three that year. 48%. 47.
The 2 a game?
No, I think he shot around 4.
And he shot, and he shot 40. That's crazy.
I think he shot around 4. I think 3.6, somewhere around there. I think he shot around 4. But anyway, so here's what happened. So in the offseason, the Suns, he was offered a 5-year, $70 million contract, something like that. Okay.
Which is a lot of money back then too. Yeah, which is a lot.
Right. That was the max. I think that was the max you get at that time. $14 million a year.
Okay.
Because I remember in '99, the max was 86.9 over 7. So the max you could get back then was 12 million. And then by 05, it had gone up about 2 million a year. So the Hawks, they're going to give him the same contract, right? So he'd rather go to the Hawks instead of being the fourth wheel. Yeah. So instead of winning 62 games, he went to a 13-win team because he'd rather be the man. Okay, he went from 18 points a game to what? What do you think he averaged that first year?
Was it 21?
20.
20. Okay.
So I'm asking you, would you trade like, what would that be? 49 wins and no chance to win a title for 2 extra points a game?
Yeah, I was going to say, if he went on to average like 27, I get it. You're Tracy McGrady leaving Toronto.
Right.
You take a big giant, I get it. Yeah.
But would you do that?
Points. No, I wouldn't do that. No, I'm staying.
Okay, then there comes another point in time where he goes to the
Brooklyn Nets?
Yeah, the Nets. And then when he got cut from the Nets, I forget where he bounced from them, but he had an option to go to Cleveland to win a title with like LeBron and all that. But he didn't want to come off the bench. He'd rather go play for a shittier team to get better. That is why that dude is the ultimate loser. He don't give a fuck about winning. He gives a fuck about his numbers and shit like that. So it was just so upsetting. But yeah, if we would have kept Joe Johnson as our 4th best player, I think they would have won a lot. But he would rather tool in mediocrity, because at the end of the day, he was the best player on a 2nd round team. And who gives a shit about that in the annals of time? That's
true. Yeah. I mean, ISO Joe, he does have a little bit of folklore to that. I mean, the ISO.
Not only that though, like when people say like the Jordan thing with Pippen, like he lost 2 less games when Pippen, it's such a stupid ass argument, because it's not that they lost 2 less games. They won 2 less rounds in the playoffs. That's 2 less rounds is Jordan versus Joe Johnson.
That's a good point. The level of player that's going to win those extra.
The level of player that can get you to the 2nd round versus the level of player that can get you a title is Jordan to Joe Johnson.
Yeah.
And that's what I'm saying. People just argue the dumbest shit. Like I said, you're all my life, I'm screaming.
Yeah, that's just used in obviously with the LeBron thing. Because obviously when LeBron leaves the team, they fully go to 50 wins to like 20 wins. So that's just the argument in the LeBron Jordan.
But here's what you don't understand too, though. The Bulls also have the greatest coach of all time.
Oh yeah, 100%.
And people don't understand how much coaching really affects the fucking game.
Facts.
That is a huge part of the game. If you get a good coach, that means a whole lot. Just like another thing people don't understand. They don't understand how great screening is. Screening is a skill. To be a good screener is a skill. You have no idea how much offense you generate by screening. As a matter of fact, Reggie Miller scored 25,000 points off screens because he couldn't dribble. He couldn't post up. He couldn't cut. You know what I mean? Like, you had to run him off screens.
He shouldn't have made NBA top 75. I was shocked when he made.
No, I think he's overrated. I think Reggie Miller is 18-3-3. Exactly. At the end of the game, he could not dribble. He did not win a title. I'll put it this way: if his 18-3-3 led to winning titles, you know what I mean? But it didn't, and all that. The only time he ever made the finals was in 2000 in a very weak East when they beat an old Patrick Ewing and a crippled Larry Johnson and all that. So no, I think Reggie Miller is extremely. Not only that, he's a scorer, right? That's what he is. He's a scorer. Yep. How many times in 18 years do you think he averaged over 20 points?
Maybe once, twice,
Five.
5 times.
5 times in 18 years.
I'm with
5
you. Though.
out of
I've always
18
thought
is
he-
27.8%.
Yeah, I've always thought he was overrated too. I mean, like people again, he's 75. I'm like, nobody who watched Tracy McGrady play and Reggie Miller play would say Reggie Miller is a better player than Tracy McGrady. You can say
Right.
career better, yeah, but there's no way you watch play. He's a better player. Even like Vince Carter, he's not better at basketball than Vince Carter. Like he's just not. So he's one of those.
No, I agree with that. And that's like another one. Like when we're talking about the top 75, like you have no idea how upset I am that Pau Gasol is not on there.
That's another one. I hear
Because
you.
I'm gonna put it this way: Pau Gasol has something like 20,000 points, 11,000 rebounds, 4,000 assists, like 1,900 blocks. And when you factor in the blocks, it's only like Duncan, Garnett, him, and I can't even think of anybody else.
Was Howard up there?
No, Howard's only got like 18,000 points.
Oh, with the points. Okay, with the points and blocks.
But that's what I'm saying.
Howard should be on that list too.
And Howard don't have 4,000 assists.
Yeah, but Howard should be on that 75 list too. Again,
No, Howard should be on the 75.
Yeah,
I'm not saying Howard shouldn't, but like Gasol is just so underrated. And like, see, and like, circling back to the Kobe argument, that's another thing when people are like, Kobe won with nothing. You have no idea how good Pau Gasol fucking was.
Talk about it. And hey, if we want to have another real honest conversation, one of those finals MVPs, Pau could have easily won it that year. He was phenomenal in Game 7.
Yeah.
Oh man, he could have easily won.
Well, not only that, it was, and I forget the exact number, but I think it's something like this. I could be wrong, but it's something like, I know Pau's exactly. So here's another thing. So in 2009 and 2010, Pau Gasol outscored either the leading scorer on the Celtics and the Magic. So how did you have no help when Pau Gasol is outscoring their leading scorers? He's out rebounding. Well, not Dwight the first season, but in the next one, he's out rebounding them. They're like, the Celtics were a super team. Garnett was 15-5 in that series. Ray Allen was 14-2.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Those aren't super numbers. They're just not super numbers. And Pau Gasol was, and then 2009, Pau Gasol was 18 points a game on 12 shots a game. Why the fuck is Pau Gasol only getting 12 shots a game?
This is true. The way he was shooting, how efficient he was, you'd want to give him more shots, without a doubt.
Oh, wait a minute. Here we go. Don't let this diatribe persuade you. Reggie is a first ballot talent. I would love to know the talent.
Yeah.
I would love to know the talent.
I think Reggie maximized whatever he didn't have a lot of God-given talent. Like he could shoot the ball 100%, right?
You know what his crossover was? Okay, he's an all-star shooting guard, right? This was he would hold the ball and shake it because he couldn't dribble at an elite level.
You know what it is, Reggie? It's just the playoff. He has some big playoff moments.
Yeah, definitely. Oh, he raced his game.
Exactly.
Yeah, and he wasn't scared of the moment or anything like that. Yeah, I'm not saying that. I'm just saying Reggie Miller is clearly not a number one on a title team. He just doesn't do enough.
100% without a doubt. I mean, I think he's closer to Klay Thompson than he is to and
I would rather have Klay Thompson than him over the defense because Klay Thompson can dribble better than him. He can defend better than him. I would much rather. I think Klay Thompson gets hotter than him. You know what I mean? I think his shot goes in more than him.
Yep.
Like I would much rather have Klay Thompson than Reggie Miller.
I think Gilbert Arenas at his best was better than Reggie Miller. People forget how good Gilbert Arenas at his best was too. It was like
from 05, the 05-06 season and the 06-07 season, those 2 years.
2-3 year stretch.
Yeah, because then he blew out. Then he hurt his knee in the next year, and he was never the same. But I watched him drop 60 on the Suns and beat they won like 18 straight games. The Suns in 06-07, I forgot what it was. They won like 15, lost a game, or maybe 2 or 3 or whatever, some shit like that. But then they started up another one and won like 18 straight, and then Gilbert Arenas came in, dropped 60 on. Nash was on fire that game too, and they were just dueling back and forth. And Gilbert Arenas outdueled, because I think Nash was really probably the 07 MVP. And he just outdueled, who I would say the real MVP is. So yeah, Gilbert Arenas was hot. I loved it. Not only that, Gilbert Arenas, people don't realize Gilbert Arenas had Dwight Howard's shoulders on a 6'3" frame. That was another thing. So he'd get you on his shoulder, and he was just too wide to get to it.
Yeah. No,
especially for other 6'3" people.
Yeah, no, his shot making ability to get to the rim, because he was kind of like a scoring guard too before it became trendy as much. Like him, Baron Davis was kind of doing that thing too, where he was like a real scoring point guard. And like I said, the matchups against Kobe, LeBron, Nash, he was holding his own. He was showing up in those big games every time. Gilbert Arenas, like I said, for that 2-3 year stretch, was right up there with the best players in the league. He was right up there.
You know what? It's funny. Like Kenny Smith once was interviewing Baron Davis, and he goes, "Hey, is there anybody that can stop you on offense?" And he goes, "No." And he goes, "Is there anybody that you can't stop on defense?" And he goes, "No." And then Kenny goes, "Then why aren't you a top 5 player?"
I mean, hey, Kenny's making points. And look, Barrett Davis is one of those guys too. Again, like
Do you think he still goes by B Diddy?
Nah, he definitely got to retire that. Yeah, he got to retire that. Barrett Davis is one of those guys. Again, everyone who watched him during that time understand how good he is. But I think for whatever reason, like he had the "We Believe" moment, where they beat the Warriors.
Oh, 7 Warriors,
cool.
yeah.
Yeah. But I guess the playoff success just never was quite there. And I think he had some injury stuff too. But if I could kind of
I mean, he was always hurt. I mean, that first year he went to the Warriors, he only played like 46 games and started only like 32. Yeah, and he couldn't stay away. He's another guy, couldn't stay away from bad shots, terribly inefficient. He'd have seasons where not his three, his field goal percentage was 38 a game. You know what I mean? And that's why, like, I got guys like, Allen Iverson's overrated as well. People have him like top 10.
I've always said with Allen Iverson, I've never seen a player where the discourse is kind of like where people who have played basketball at a high level, like people who have played semi-pro, college, all that, they hold Allen Iverson such a high regard. Well, like myself, people who just hoop for fun here and there, but talk hoops, watch hoops, try to break it down, tend to hold. I think Allen Iverson that kind of overrated echelon too. Probably agree with you. But do you notice that difference? Like people who hooped have this incredible respect. Maybe because he was like really 5'11", averaging 30 in the NBA. They're super impressed by it. Or it just seems like players who have hooped, played a high level, hold to a higher regard than us who haven't. Do you notice that?
Well, I noticed that, but it's, how can I put this? To be honest with you, but the hoopers value the wrong shit. And that's why hoopers don't translate well into like office, you know what I mean? When they have to manage the game from the mindset of it. You know what I mean? Because they value, you know what I mean? Like, this is impressive. Right. But it doesn't win. It doesn't win. And not only that, for Allen Iverson to really like win, because we saw him share the spotlight with Carmelo Anthony, because they're like, what if he had some help? And they're like, oh, he was washed. And dude, he was still 26 a game, making all-star games. He was still very good. I'm not saying he was peak or whatever. And his efficiency even rose. But it just doesn't translate well into winning, is the whole point. Not only that year in Memphis, he only played 3 games. He was coming off the bench. He was getting like 12 or 13 a game and 22. But he was shooting close to 60%. Like, dude, that would have translated so well on a good team. Like, I wish he would have went to Miami and played like that. But
do you think they could have, like, Allen Iverson, let's say in his prime, let's say from 01 to 05, how would you build a team around Allen Iverson? Do you think so? You clearly, I think I agree. I don't know if he could be a number 1, but do you think you could build a team where he'd be a number 2 on a championship?
I would tell Allen Iverson this. I would tell him straight up this. This is what I would tell Allen Iverson, and I think he would be so much better if this is what happened. I'm like, check this out, bro. I'm gonna keep track. You got 20 shots every game. As soon as you shoot your 21st shot, I'm sitting your ass down for the rest of the game. That is the way for us to win. You pick your 5 best shots per quarter when you have the best chance to score. You penetrate, break down, collapse the D, pass the fuck out, do whatever. And then I would tell him too, quit jumping the fucking passing lanes. Okay? I know you get 3 steals a game, but the other 7 times you miss, you put us out of position.
Yep, 100%.
You know what I mean? So that's the way. And then not only that, like Mutombo, for example, Mutombo in the 01 finals, he averaged like 16 a game on 9 shots. You know what I mean? And like, I've always wanted to do this. And I don't know if any team ever does this, but I think this is the best way to do it. Okay? Because like, I mean, I've played not at a high level, but I've also coached, I analyze the game, things like that. What I would want to do is like someone like Mutombo, right? You're giving me 16 points on 9 shots on good efficiency. Well, let's bump you up to 12 shots. Let's give you 3 extra shots a game, see if that efficiency holds. If it holds, we'll bump you up again. If it goes down, we'll take you down. But Iverson, we need you to quit shooting 29 times a game, 35 times a game. You know what I mean? It's just too predictable. And you saw it really only worked 1 year. He made the second round in 99, the second round in 2000, the finals in 01, and then got out the first round one more time.
That's it with Iverson.
And now against the weak East. That's really why he got out too.
Everyone, whenever they talk about Allen Iverson's career, sometimes ask him, tell me about Allen Iverson's career without that 01 run or without that run to the finals with Lakers. It's really lackluster. Like, again, on the court, I just have some games I get why he took the 30 shots. There's some games where I think he needs just because the offense around him just wasn't there. But
no, I get that.
Yeah, but
I'm saying you don't need to average 30 shots for a season.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah, for a season,
especially shooting 38% in your prime. If you're shooting 38% on 30 shots, you need to cut back your fucking shots. It's just that simple. You can't tell me you shooting 30 times a game at 38%. That's why it always kills me, because like I'm big on efficiency, right? Because what in life is better when you're inefficient at it?
I mean, no, nothing
Nothing.
really.
Nothing. I can't
When
think
you
of
do
anything.
efficiency relative to era though. I think that's important. Like plus 7 in the era versus +4, but your numbers could be way higher in the +4. But I think +7 is more impressive in some cases. Obviously, context matters.
And maybe so, but I'm saying in his era, he was still extremely inefficient.
Yeah, in his era, yeah. And I know like for MVPs, and I think it was like a bottom 3 in efficiency for MVP.
I'll argue this. 01 in 2001, Kobe Bryant's a better player than Allen Iverson.
Look, I'm of the mindset I thought Vince might have been better than Allen Iverson too. Like that series of Vince and Allen Iverson, man.
They went back and forth, yeah.
100%.
Like I'm putting the clips right now. I'm putting a bunch of on my TikTok Iverson documentaries and shit like that. And don't get me wrong, like watching Iverson was so impressive. See this dude, like he just kept coming. It didn't matter how much time you put him on his ass, he's just coming. And he's coming, and he's coming, and he's coming. And that's what people value. But they don't recognize, like, and I like that. And that's why I always respect Allen Iverson and all that. But I can't elevate him over these other players because he didn't translate in winning. I respect the hell out of him for doing it. And it's great to watch. It's amazing to watch it in the moment. You know what I mean? But like, yeah, it just didn't translate into winning. And that's why, like, with the Bill Russell thing, like I got Bill Russell high, and I have no argument if somebody wants to say Bill Russell is the GOAT. You know what I mean? Because at the end of the day, if I was Bill Russell and I would say, bro, I got 5 MVPs and 11 rings. What did you do greater than that? And there wouldn't be shit you could tell me.
Or someone just said like his skill set isn't that of.
I said, even better. My limited skill set got me 5 MVPs and 11 rings. What did your skill set get you? That's how you determine greatness. What did you accomplish first?
How do you value that MVP when obviously there's less people in the league and teams in the league? Then what? 8 teams in the league? Then
I would evaluate it like this. This is what I would say. I say, one, check this out. We got 30 teams in the league right now, right? If we can track that teams to the top 8 teams. How deep is every single team? That's what I would say to begin with. I go, secondly, I'm winning MVPs when people are breaking into my house, shitting on my pillows. You know what I mean?
Oh, yeah, there is
racist shit. I said mental aspect I have to overcome.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Did you have to do that? You guys are over here like Westbrook. You're tattling because someone's calling you a bad name.
I hear you. We got Fluent in the building. Looks like he's checking it from a hotel.
What's up, Delicious?
How do you just bring me up without, like, how do you know I'm ready? What if I'm not ready?
You wouldn't have requested as a guest then.
I didn't request. I just came in and sit in the background and change your background. You have baseball. We're talking basketball. Like, what the hell's going on?
Hey, man, I told you I don't know how to run this show. I know how to run my show.
10 minutes and it's chaos.
I know. Well, that's what happens when you have me run shows that no, you didn't prep me right, man. I didn't get the proper media training over here at Sports Fluent Media.
Oh, okay. Well, we got to get back into those online courses.
Right. And all that.
The sponsors come.
What about you? What if I said that as Bill Russell? How would you top me if I said that to you, Fluent? If I said I got 5 MVPs.
I just came on, so I didn't hear you.
Okay, I'm about to tell you. If I'm Bill Russell, we're talking GOAT shit right now, right? Okay. If I'm Bill Russell and I say I got 5 MVPs and 11 rings, what did you do greater than that?
Anyone else?
Yeah, anybody, any player. Pick a player. You argue it from someone else's case. I don't care who you are. Well, the point that I'm trying to make is if I'm Bill Russell, there's no way I can't feel like I'm the greatest player of all time.
Well, okay. With the exception that you're going to say he's got 11 titles, right? Is that what you said? And 5 MVPs?
Yeah. Mm-hmm.
Okay. Your 11 titles are a team accolade. And when you look at your team, and you look at, you had what, 5, 6, 7 Hall of Famers?
In 63, he had 9 Hall of Famers. The whole rotation was Hall of Fame.
Your bench warmer, the guy who, not bench warmer, but the guy who came off the bench for you, Hondo, became a finals MVP and won a championship on his own. That's how good your team was. So let's take the 11 and throw them out because you only have to win 1 round to get to the finals. Now let's look at you as a player. You shot below 40%. You couldn't shoot free throws. We saw that you couldn't dribble. You couldn't hit a jumper. Great. You were Ben Wallace.
And then I would say this. But I would say this in the pushback on that. I would say
that's the case that someone would make. I'm not making that case.
No. But I would say this. But at the end of the day, I didn't have to dribble or hit shots to win. It doesn't matter what the skill set as long as I win. I'll put it this way: if I'm shooting balls out of my asshole and that's how I win the game, it doesn't matter anything else. All that matters is I win the game. That's whatever my skill set.
By that standard, then Hondo, who's 8-0. Ori, who didn't have to do anything, Ori just had to sit there and watch in one.
Or you
set.
got to be better than
But
like
Ori,
Jordan.
but Ori wasn't the best player on the title team, and Havlicek was only the best player on 2 title teams. That's the difference. And then you talk about like, well, you're
Well, you said I
inefficient.
didn't have to do anything, so they didn't.
No. What I'm saying is if I am the best player on the team, whatever I'm doing to win the title, like for example, what was it, 62 when I got 30 and 40 in Game 7? If the team was so good, why did I need 30 points?
Clear. He was the best defender on the team. He was rarely the best offensive player on the team.
No.
Talk to him.
No. But here's But here's what it is. Okay, first off, when he would increase his average in the finals to like 23 a game, okay? Even if he wasn't the best offensive player, 23 points and 27 rebounds clearly makes you the best player at that point.
Yes,
now that with 10 blocks.
It's easier. It's easier to be a better defender when you're not as heavily relied on to do the offense. So if he had to score 30 a game, if he had to be a high percentage, high volume shooter or scorer, could he have done that? I don't know. We've never seen him do it. Could he have done that and still played that defense? No. But when he came into the league, he could barely make a layup. So now are we then? Because if we do that with him, then we got to do that with everybody. Then we got to say, well, Draymond's the best player on his team.
But he's not the best player on his team.
Yeah, he is, because if you look at the offensive defense he provides and the facilitation, he does more than everybody else.
Well, no, because we can count that up if you want. Like, for example, we'll just use this, okay? And I've done this before, and they're on my TikTok if you want to see them. Okay, so Bill Russell would get you 30 rebounds and 15 blocks, right? That's 45 extra possessions per game. Hold on, that's 45 extra possessions per game.
How many of those are real, though?
Huh?
We're finding out that a lot of these stats are
okay. Until we can prove it, we're going to have to go with that just till now. But whatever the number is, okay, that's 45 extra possession per game. The Celtics at the time were scoring 1.1, 1.12, 1.15 points per possession, right? So that means Bill Russell's blocks and rebounds got you an extra 55 points a game, plus his 15 points a game. That's 70 points. Then he got you 4 assists a game. That's 78. That's 78 points now. Then he got you 2 steals a game. Now at the 1.1, now it's another. Now he's contributing 80 points a game. Nobody else on that team is affecting the game at 80 points a game.
However, those rebound numbers are inflated because, much like Angel Reese, you're getting your own rebounds because you're such a low percentage shooter.
Then you're not inefficient at that point.
But you are inefficient. If you keep missing, and you just happen to be bigger than everybody else, it takes away from.
Well, if you watch the 09 and 10 Lakers when they had the best front line in the league, they would just play volleyball at the rim,
right,
for like 6 to 12 times a game, and that's what won the titles. So at the point is that trip down on the floor, our possession has not ended till the team gets the ball.
Right, but I'm saying, but the rebounds are inflated because you should have just made the first or the second or the third one. The fact that you had to go 5 tries. Right, like that doesn't add to your value to me. Getting like Moses Malone tipping it to himself so he can get better position so that he can score is not that doesn't. It's good. It's great that you can do it, but that doesn't impress me. I'd rather you be able to get there and score first try, second.
But we saw when he had a team around him, nobody could stop him doing that.
I know that's part of the problem.
So that's effective towards winning, and that's all that really matters. I don't care. Whatever your skill set is, the best way for you to get us wins. That's what. So Draymond, for example, right? His triple single, he gets you 8 rebounds a game. They score 1.3. Well, I'll make these numbers up, but you'll get the point. They score 1.25 points off possessions, right? His 8 rebounds, that's 10 more points. He gets 8 assists. They're probably getting 2.25 on the assists, right? So now that's like 18 points.
But
that's 26 points, but 34 points. Hold on, that's contributing to 34 points just right there. Steph alone's getting you 32 just off scoring. He's not more valuable than Steph.
If Russell's the best player,
not best, greatest. I accomplished 5 MVPs and 11 rings. Did you accomplish that?
So the greatness thing, I guess, if you do greatness versus best, that is a different conversation. But I just started to realize in the finals too, I don't think Bill Russell was ever the best player in any of the finals. Jerry West played him a lot. Jerry West, I mean, look, I think Jerry West played him in a few of those finals. Will Chamberlain was better than him in a couple of those finals. That's what I'm saying. Like, I don't know if he was ever really the best player on the court. I think Jerry West was noticeably better than Bill Russell in a lot of those finals. I'm looking at.
Oh, you're saying between both teams and stuff. I was talking about the best player on the side.
I'm talking about both.
No, he's saying best player, but that's kind of where I went. If I was going against him, I would say,
yeah.
If you're not the best offensive player and your focus is on defense, then we're opening up, and then you're considered the best player on that team. We're now opening up a whole nother can of worms because there's a lot of guys who were the second or third best offensive or whatever option offensively, but were by far the best defensive player. And now we're having whole other conversations. And I use Draymond as an example, but it could be Draymond. Heck, it could be Clay on that team. It could be Pippen on the Bulls. It could, right? Like
the last time I saw the best player that was a
guys who are like,
I was going to say 2004 might be the time that the best player was a defensive player and won a title.
Ben
oh
Wallace.
yeah,
I think Ben Wallace has an argument to be the best player on that Pistons team. It's either him or Billups.
Yeah,
for sure.
So that's the last time. So it's a rare thing. So then it's even more impressive.
Checked, and look, fair or unfair, the last time I checked, the team that scored the most points won every single game. So the offense, I value offense more than defense. It's not that I don't value defense, but if I have to weigh them and I go, okay, who am I going to take? The guy who's the superior offensive player and a notch down on defense, or the guy that's the superior defensive player and a notch down on offense? I'm taking the offensive guy. And again, that just might be my personal preference, but that's where I'm going.
Well, see, I think you got to look at it relative on that because, like, let me ask you this, okay? So one of the games, we'll just make it up, but I'm sure it's somewhere out. The Pistons won 88-82. So if the team scores 88 points a game, do you think they have a good offense?
It depends on the era.
Depends on the era.
Yeah. League average scoring for that.
Depends on the era. Depends on their pace. Depends on their, like, is 88 points per game good if
in a vacuum? We'll use this in a vacuum. Is it good?
It can
today.
be,
Today it's terrible, but like 04 in certain.
No. I'm saying in a vacuum, just period. If I said this team averages 88 points a game, and that's all you know, would you say? And I go, you got to tell me if it's good or bad.
All I knew, I would.
Yeah,
guess
that's what a vacuum means. 88 a game.
I would guess that they weren't a very good.
Okay,
offense.
now holding a team to 82 points a game. Does that even matter what era, or is that just always good?
That's basically always good, I think. 80.
With the exception of the shot clock.
Right. So just in general, though, more than likely 82 is going to be better at defense than 88 is going to be better at offense. Yeah. So obviously, Ben Wallace succeeded more elite level at defense than Billups does at offense.
You can so basically, Ben Wallace is greater at defense than Billups at offense because essentially the guy offensively would have to be like Tracy or like Kobe level offense for Ben Wallace.
Right.
But at the end of the day, even the greatest defender, even the greatest defensive team is gonna get scored on.
No
matter how good they are, if they're holding a team to 82, now if they're holding to 82, but all they can score is 60 a game, they're going to lose every game, no matter how, even though you know that 82 is a great defensive score, they can only score 66. They're losing every time.
Offense is valued more, essentially. I've always said, like, to
me, it's definitely valued more.
In offense, in basketball, it is because it's not, it's not like soccer where you can win 1-0, right? Like, you're going to score 90 to 100 points in
every game.
I don't know what the average is for the entirety, the 80 years of the NBA, but I guarantee you it's there. Excuse me a second, gentlemen.
Oh, good.
Well, that's like two, though. I was going to say this, and actually our time's up anyways, but I wanted to say this because everybody always says defense will win championships, and I disagree with that. Dominant scorers win championships.
Without a doubt. I mean, again, I'm definitely of the whole championships are a team accomplishment. Like, I try to differentiate championships and greatness of individuals probably as much as anybody, because to me, it's like let's say Jordan, that when he averaged 48 and 6, right, 53% shooting, phenomenal. Let's say that series, Scottie Pippen, I think Scottie still gave you like 18. I'm assuming that series he probably gave you like 18, 6 and 6, something along those lines. Let's say Scottie Pippen had a bad shooting series. He gave you 8. He's shooting like 30% from the field. He was bad. If Michael Jordan, even let's say you bumped him his score, if he averages 44, 9 and 9 on 55% shooting, and they lose because Scottie Pippen
was 21, 9 and 8 in that series.
Oh yeah. So let's say Pippen averaged like 10 or 8. Let's say he just had a bad series, right, shooting. So if Jordan, let's say again, he upped it a bit. If Jordan gave you 45, 9 and 9, but they lose that series because Scottie Pippen just, couldn't make shots. Let's say Steve Kerr had a bad shooting situation, Tony Kukoc, whatever the case is. Does that make Michael Jordan any less great? To me, it doesn't. He'd still be great. That's what I'm saying. So that's what I think the whole championship thing, I go back and forth with. Like, if it's golf or tennis, I'm like, you count the majors, it's cool. But there's just so many variables in winning championships. And I've seen too many great, like even with your Suns, like the whole situation with Stoudemire, Boris Diaw getting suspended, right? Just all these things happen, which is why there's a balance. Like obviously championships matter, but I think what you do in the biggest stage, like if you perform well and lose, I'm not going to put that on you. Like LeBron in 2011, that's on him. Like he choked 100% without a doubt. But when he lost to 2018, when he lost to 2015 with no Kyrie, no Kevin Love, I'm not going to back. I mean, like I thought he
No,
was
I blame
killing
him.
that
I blame him on 2018 because J.R. Smith made him quit before the overtime even started.
Yeah, that I get you. Yeah, he like punched. Yeah, I can get
And
you.
then he just quit. Period. You know what I mean? Like he's just going through the motions. He wasn't really playing because like he's good enough to get his numbers and shit like that. But yeah, he was just playing. Like he was just going through the motions.
Yeah, mentally checked out. But it's just one of those things where again, there's an interesting, and I think that's the thing. I noticed that in basketball because you notice in any other sport, like you do the baseball show, right?
Yeah, the baseball show.
Yeah, so baseball show. So when we talk GOATs in baseball, think about it, we never really bring up championships. We talk about Willie Mays. I know people will bring up Barry Bonds, Ken Griffey Jr., whoever who's your GOAT.
Well, Frank Thomas is my all-time favorite player.
Okay, some people bring up Ted Williams, all the guys.
Right.
But we never really bring up championships in GOAT conversation. Really, like we bring up like the advanced stats, OPS, WAR, things of that nature.
Well, because you know why? Because you don't really play as a team in baseball.
And your impact, your impact is like you don't use so much. Like Barry Bonds can.
Well, and you know why though? Here's the problem with baseball. This is why baseball is such a weird ass sport.
Mm-hmm.
The defense has the ball.
I see what you're saying. Yeah, yep.
That is why it's so weird. The defense has the ball. So, and that's why the ratings dropped after a while. Because you know what I mean? It's hard to be interesting when the defense has the ball. Because why would they want to give up the ball? That's why they that's why they added the pitch clock.
We were just talking about
why do we want to give you the ball?
We were just talking about
baseball's been getting it wrong since the beginning. Do you know why they have 9 innings?
No, tell me.
So baseball, when it originally started, they would play until 21. And whoever got to 21 first would win. But games were taking like cricket matches. They were taking forever. So they messed around with, like, they didn't have a set innings. They're like, I don't know, let's try this, let's try that. And they're like, well, there's 9 men. So let's make it 9 innings. So that it's, and I'm like, oh, you dummies, you missed a great chance. If you would have made it 5, 7, you would have significantly increased, not knowing, your ratings in about 50 years. Because that's why the pitch clock, right? It wasn't that they always took long. It wasn't like they didn't want, like you said, didn't want to give up the ball. It's all showman. Like you watch the pitcher, he's got to motion and move and signs, and then the batter says, "Oh, you took too long," so he steps out of the box and he's got to adjust this cup. And they turned this game into just a boring gestures. But had they gone 7 innings, heck, if they would have gone 7 men in 7 innings, I guarantee you baseball would have been way more fun. Way more fun.
Well, actually, you know what's crazy though is even if it is, playoff baseball is one of my favorite things to watch.
Yeah, but playoff everything gets better.
Every sport's great. Playoff hockey is great.
Playoff hockey is better. Playoff baseball, playoff football is better. Yeah, every sport, right? And that's why, like the NBA, for example, is trying this in-season tournament. It's an attempt to get playoff atmosphere, playoff intensity into the regular season, because everybody knows the regular season gets boring.
I will say though, playoff basketball is the biggest difference. I noticed the biggest difference. Like playoff baseball, I get different. Playoff hockey, playoff football, but playoff basketball is the biggest difference between the regular season product and the playoff product. Like football, I think is actually the least, which is why I think football does well, because I think regular season games just matter more because you play less.
Like I said, to me, it's baseball because I can't even watch a regular season baseball game. I mean, it just seems way more intense. It just seems there's more pressure packed. Like the pitches just seem more interesting. Like every pitch matters more and all that. Like I said, I don't even watch baseball until
every pitch matters. But I also don't like. I feel like they change pitchers too much in the postseason. Like it's too much matchup. Like they change pitchers for the matchups so often in playoff baseball.
Oh my god, I know. I went to Game 5 of the fucking pennant, and it was awful.
Yeah, that'd be
annoying. Last year.
Let the pitcher do a complete game shutout or whatever the case is. Let me see a pitcher go 8 to 10 Ks. Let me see, Skeens out there for 7, 8 innings, see what he can do. But I hear you, dude. I hear you. Anything you want to talk about Fluent real quick? No base.
Yeah. Did you guys figure out who was the greatest Team USA men's basketball team?
We talked about it for a bit, and then we got sidetracked with the GOAT stuff.
Okay.
Yeah, we basically.
I basically just said I like 92. They got 3 players that are arguably top 10 and 6 MVPs overall, and nobody else has that type of
But like I
Star
said,
power.
012 has 2 of the top 5, maybe. Then when they said that, he jumped to Kobe's 11. I didn't know he was in Chilltown school with Kobe's at 11. So I was like, oh, okay. So then we just
That's how me and Fluent got cool. I gave him all the reasons why Kobe's 11.
I still don't agree, but he did.
He gave you decent reasons. And like I said, I have mistakes.
Yeah, listen, if people give good reasons for stuff, I have no like me and Chill will never agree on who the GOAT is.
Yeah.
But
debating 1 and 2 is different between dating.
I make a
4
very
and
fair
11.
case. I make a very fair case for me, and he makes a very fair case for his. So
Hey, Fluent, can I ask you a question though?
yeah.
This is one of my favorite questions ever with, when guys like you have Kobe higher and all that. If you had nobody on your team, zero, starting a team, nobody, and on the board was Kobe or Hakeem, you know what I mean? And you're trying to win, who you drafting?
Hakeem.
So is there a case for Hakeem to be over Kobe? I mean, I guess some people have it. Yeah, some people do have that.
Listen, I told you I struggle with Hakeem and Shaq. I've flip-flopped them multiple times when I do my rankings. And listen, I even admit I have Kobe over Bird because I'm a Lakers fan, and he's my second favorite player all time. I am biased towards Laker players.
Oh my gosh! Speaking of which, did you check out the link I sent you? You'll love that shit.
I was driving, so I checked it out, but I haven't watched it all yet.
Well, when you get a chance, it's like an hour and a half. You'll love it. You know what I mean? It's the best ever. Dude's got a Kobe documentary on there too. He just makes the best docs. His Marvin Hagler one's awesome.
Nice. Anything Magic. Yeah, anything Magic. I'm in.
That's why I sent it to you.
Yeah. No, I appreciate it. But no, other than that, no, I'm good. Other than for anyone who's going to watch this after, because no one's watching it now. One, I hate X. I'm going to completely disband Twitter, just so you know. They don't let us live stream there anymore unless you pay for a premium membership. So that's what I say to them. Elon, like you don't have enough money from your mommy. Everyone knows it wasn't yours. That being said, Tuesday on the Hoopstorians, or I don't know, Jalen, if you're going to join us, we're going to try to get everybody who made votes. The first ever Sports Fluent NBA, because the Basketball Hall of Fame is a joke. NBA Hall of Fame, the first induction. What are we picking? The top. He's
top 5, but we're gonna list. We're gonna list the 5 finalists that didn't make it. The top 10.
I love my list.
Well, first off, if I remember correctly, your list was wrong, anyways.
My list was wrong. No, my list was right because I didn't have the 2. Again,
your list is wrong because my list was right. Putting an active player in the Hall of Fame is ridiculous.
That's why your list is wrong.
I didn't have the two people who are universally regarded as 1 and 2 all time. They're not in my Hall of Fame. They're not going to first ballot if it's 5. And I think a lot of people put them up.
Well, here I'll tell you what, because the votes are already in. I'll just let y'all know. I voted George Mikan number 1.
He was. Give the votes.
No, I just give a little tidbit. I'm not saying anybody else. That's just me. There were 17 voters,
and I gave. I
played 7 years.
Huh?
Didn't he only play 7 years?
It don't matter. He's
no, but this way. He's the godfather of the NBA. He deserves to, in my opinion, he deserves to be first. He is nowhere near a top 5 player of all time, but being the first guy, and it might have folded if it wasn't for him.
Yeah, it's not the best or the greatest players. It's who's deserving. And like, I'll give you one of mine because I know he won't make it because no one else voted for him. At number 10, I have Earl Lloyd.
Oh my God! I was about to text you on that. I said, wait a minute, you got 1955 NBA champion Earl Lloyd? I couldn't believe it.
I should have put the creator of basketball on it. That's what I forgot. I should have put Naismith.
He never played.
Okay, hasn't played. Okay, yeah. Okay, so I put you on George Mikan.
Not only did he not play, James Naismith holds a very, very unimpressive record as the only head coach of the Kansas University Jayhawks to have a losing record.
All for his career?
In the history of that school, he's the only one to have a losing record.
They're a good program. That's kind of tough.
You know what's funny? I was hanging out with at the 09 All-Star game, I was hanging out with his grandkid. And he brought a bunch of like Naismith memorabilia to the what do they call that? The expo, the Saturday expo you go to before Saturday night and all that. But it was cool looking at all that, like all that kind of old stuff and all that. But yeah, wait, we can only get 10 people on here, right? Because there's like 17 voters.
Yeah, not everyone's going to be invited.
Yeah. Well, like I said, we got
what time?
10
right after Fluent and Chill.
Right after Fluent and Chill.
Okay. Gotcha.
You know what we might do, what Fluent and Fluent and Chill might do. What we might do on our episode is I want to start a series where we go through every induction class of the Hall of Fame and start crossing people off, because there's a whole lot of people that shouldn't be in the Hall of Fame.
No, I agree. That's why we came up with this, and that way. And now that we're 75 years behind, it'll be a while before we run out of players.
I think an NBA Hall of Fame.
I think there might only be 10 players that deserve to be in the Hall of Fame.
Oh, you only put 10 players in 75 years history of the game. Your Hall of Fame is super. That's crazy exclusive.
Well, okay, here, watch. Okay, to be in the Hall of Fame, you have to be the best of the best of the best to steal from Men in Black, right? The best of the best of the best. How many players have played in the history of the NBA?
About 5,000.
Yeah, I was going to say several.
5,000.
Okay.
Of those 5,000, what percentage of them were starters?
Well, I mean, we're doing what? Well, I'll put it this way. So we'll just use this. There's about 500 players that play in the league now, and there's 30 teams, 150 out of about 30%.
That's 30%. So about 1,600.
30%. And if you want, I got to. If there's a 15-man team, 55 start, 33%.
So like 1,600, 1,650.
Okay, so 30% of 5,000 players is 1,500. 1,500. So who should make the Hall of Fame? The top 1%? Right?
No, I mean, I would probably say
that's 15 players. That's 15 players. So even if you said, okay, the top 5%,
15, 30, 45, that's 75 players.
75 players.
That's a lot of
not
fun,
the 400 that are in there.
Yeah, it's too much right now.
I think right now it's between, out of everybody saying, I think about 150 to 200 probably have a good case.
Not mad at it.
I think I personally, and this is why I'm harder than everybody else, I think if you don't have the what you did for the game, right? Like you can't write the history of the NBA without you. You aren't an elite player, an elite player. I don't always say a champion. When I say champion, a champion caliber, right? Like Jerry West should be in the Hall of Fame, even though he only won one. He was a championship, like going to 8 or 9 or whatever the heck he went to, right? So when I say champion, I don't mean champion like rings, because that's a team. I mean champion caliber player. Like you need to have all of those things, not just, like when people say Robert Horry should be in.
That's crazy. That's crazy. That's crazy.
I'm like, what are you?
That's crazy.
Like talk about devalue it. Like guys who played. Listen, and I know we argue about this one. Guys who played like 5 years. I don't care if you played 5 years and won 5 chips.
Bill Walton,
sorry, you didn't do enough. You didn't.
Wait a minute. So you're telling me you don't think Willis Reed, because Willis Reed only had like a healthy 7 years. He's got 2 Finals MVPs, an MVP, a chip, 22 and 14.
Willis Reed had 7 healthy years, but what about 10, 12 full years, like total years, right?
I mean, but some of those years are like 12 games and things like that.
I'll say this: a guy like Bill Walton is a better example, right? Because Bill Walton had a 3-year stretch. And if you total up everything he played, maybe 6. But half of that was as a bench warmer on the Celtics.
But let me ask you this much. Okay, so we'll use Mitch Richmond.
I'm not saying he's not. I'm saying it's really hard.
But let me ask you this. Would you rather have Mitch?
Maybe top 75? Never.
No, not top 75. But would you? Well, I don't know, because like I'm really big on the fact of only 21 players ever been an MVP and the best player on the title team, and he's one of them. Yeah. But would you rather have Mitch Richmond's career or Bill Walton's? Would you rather be able to say I was the best player in the world at one point, or I was steady, about top 15 guy, multiple years? And
I personally would rather have Bill Walton's, but I wouldn't expect to be in the Hall of Fame because my career was cut short due to injuries. There's so many guys who, and I know they didn't do what he did, but there's so many guys who were great basketball players, phenomenal basketball players, who because of injuries or circumstance never got to achieve that. Like he had a good year.
I got a good one for you.
Penny Hardaway, not Hall of Famer then.
No, definitely not. Definitely. Oh, definitely not.
Penny's out. I've even said, and I love this guy.
Crazy.
Vince Carter, no. Tracy McGrady, no.
Right. Okay. What about this? Is Bobby Dandridge a Hall of Famer to you?
No.
And see, someone like Bobby Dandridge is a Hall of Famer to me, especially the way he played, the way he did whatever it took to win. And he he would outshine these guys. He would play better than Dr. J in series. He would play better than Havlicek. He would, he outdueled, I think it's probably the greatest second round game ever, 1979. They're down 3-1 to George Gervin and the Spurs. He scores like 20 in the fourth quarter, hits the game winner, drops 37. He was named he was 20-10 as the third option in 71. Imagine if he got more plays.
Let me ask you this: If you were telling the story, the history of the NBA, and you left him out, would anyone miss him?
No one would miss him. No one.
Probably not. But you know what?
Okay.
I could also leave out. But check us out.
Hold on.
But then, wait, Yao Ming is the NBA then. Yao Ming's the Hall of Fame.
And here's the thing: I'm also saying NBA Hall of Fame. Dr. J's not in my NBA Hall of Fame.
Ooh,
right.
I hear you. It makes sense now.
Well, see, and here's another thing though too. I would say, and like I said, I think he's really high, especially at his peak. And I think he's one of the best players of all time in that regard, greatest, especially is Rick Barry. And we could leave probably Rick Barry out. I mean, if you can exclude the 75 title, what else do you really need to say about Rick Barry? But Rick Barry averaged 40 in a finals. I mean, the dude was amazing. You know what I mean? But you could probably leave him out and tell the story of the NBA. But I still think he's Hall of Famer.
Then you should leave him out.
But I think he's Hall of Famer.
Because one run, let me equate it to football, right? Eli Manning had 2 great runs. And he won 2 incredible Super Bowls against the greatest quarterback of all time, but doesn't make him elite.
I don't think he's a Hall of Famer either. We have that debate football,
right? No. But here's the difference: because to win those runs, you only need to be elite for 3 or 4 games. To win a title run in the NBA, you need to be elite for 12 to 20. It's harder to do.
I'm not saying it's not harder to do, but you also have more opportunities to do it, and so longevity for me is important. So if you have one, like watch, did Jeremy Lin have an incredible season when we had Linsanity?
No, he had like an incredible 8 games or something.
And if you're being fair, you're going to say no. He had an incredible couple of weeks, right? Yep. But people take so I'm taking that as a microcosm to say, so because you had a 3-year run out of a 13-year career, that's like Linsanity. It just expanded over a career. So I can't just look at that 3 years and go like, oh, you're the best because you peaked. What you do the other times?
Someone like Rick Barry has like incredible 14 years.
Here's the thing: the other times aren't you getting to that point and then you either gradually falling off that point. It was literally like nothing. Then no. Again, if it was an ascension, different conversation.
Okay, but let's go Rick Barry. He had an incredible 14 years, and you could probably tell the story without him. Is he Hall of Fame?
If everything else adds up, then yes, he is a Hall of Famer. So that's why I say if you don't, it's not just one. If you're missing one piece,
yeah,
right. But if he didn't have a long, great career, if he didn't have any championships, if he didn't do all those other things, and you can tell the story without him, cool. But if you did all this other stuff, but we can tell the story without you, no, that's only one thing. It's not one strike and you're out. But 2, 3 strikes, then you're gone.
Is Kawhi a Hall of Famer in your opinion?
No,
he isn't to me either. No. Because I was having this argument too. Total stats, I think, need to mean something. Me and Kev were arguing about this on his live not too long ago, and he was like, "I don't care about total stats." I said, "They got to matter. They got to matter. I don't know what percentage you want to matter, but they have to matter."
They matter.
Somebody scoring 25,000 points is impressive.
2 finals MVPs.
Total stats go to 2 categories for me: longevity and peak longevity.
And that's good. Both.
Those are 2 different things because Vince Carter had longevity, Kevin Willis had longevity, but LeBron had peak longevity. And so I weigh peak longevity over longevity.
Yeah, but Kevin Willis had Tyrannosaurus Rex arms, and that's why he could never reach his full potential.
Example because he played 20 some odd years.
I will say this though with Jeremy Lin. I think in the encyclopedia of the NBA, he owns a page. You don't tell the story of the NBA without talking about.
Yeah, you can. No, you can tell the story.
I don't know. That was a special time. Maybe because
he's a blip. He's a blip in the radar. It's someone. It's that girl who does. I'm looking for a man in finance.
Hey,
6'5", it's 15 minutes of fame, and no one will remember you in a year. So
what a 15 minutes. That was a different type of 15.
Hey, just to show you, it's funny. The Rockets had what? Kyle Lowry and Goran Dragic, and they got rid of both of them to get Jeremy Lin.
There you go.
And that's it. That's a special thing right there.
It worked out for everybody.
2 all NBA players.
All right.
But yeah, I think we're done, right?
All done. Yeah.
Gone
we're
out,
good.
gone.
Yep.
I'm in a hotel. I need to go to sleep.
I'm gonna say busy day.
Don't even ask.
You like that?
I should have been here 2 hours ago.
I was like that. All right.
Yeah.
Hey, well, all right, chat. Another great episode.
Sand
Another
City
great
Sports.
Yes, sir. Subscribe, like, comment. You know the drill. And until next time, we'll see you.
All right, y'all.